Hi everyone, how you doing? And welcome to what is actually my entry haul. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to talk about the knobs, or the nubs as I like to refer to them as, and how they came to be. Now, by the way, I've got the Aztec calendar here, and I've got some National Geographics, a few other things. The National Geographics, thanks so much to the fan who very kindly sent them out. Mail's pretty expensive in Australia, but thanks so much for that. I've mixed them up with mine. But anyway, and thanks also for, I hope you've enjoyed the last video on the Slavs. I couldn't find the Slavs on the map, a bit weird, until I saw the German Swabi tribe, and that explained it, a big confederacy, Marcus Aurelius, etc., against Marcus Aurelius and all that. Now, the knobs, what we have with the knobs is we see these rocks, and we have these two circles down the bottom, or they might be, sometimes they're rectangles. You know, there could be rectangles. Sometimes they're one big line. Sometimes they're a mottled line. Sometimes they're two holes. With that, they're just two holes, and there's no nubs. They're like inverse nubs. And I think we can explain all of these. Now, how do we do this? Now, you have to pay attention to all the small details. When you pay attention to the small details, the little details, that's when the big details start to click. So one of the little details I noticed was that often there's a line around the circles, or just underneath the circles, and it's of material sticking out. Now, to explain all this, I think we should rely on the theory of the acids, the strong acids melting the stones. A fan rang me the other day, and he was in Cusco, and he found that stone in Cusco that I made a video about in 2017. And he said, "Charlie, this is not rendered over like I said it was." He said, "This is homogeneous all the way through. It's homogeneous. And it looks to me like it's been smoothed." And his videos, it was in like 1080p resolution. You could see quite clearly what he was saying was absolutely true. So if these are melted over, moved over with strong acid, how can we account for how the different nubs were formed? And people suffer from this thing called idea exclusivity. It can only be one thing and not the other. So only this tribe can live here and not this tribe. They can't live together in history. And ancient historians suffer from this. Everyone suffers from this. You see it in every natural science. So when we apply that to this, people say, well, the nubs are for carrying the stones and they can't be for anything else. They say, oh, the pyramids are a tomb, but because they're a tomb, because of the idea exclusivity, they can't possibly be for anything else. That's the archaeological theory, right? Wrong. So in the case of this, I think it's that the nubs are for carrying the stones, as well as part of the process. Now, I have to mention a channel, Ancient History Criticisms, and this bloke, he has analysed the nubs very, very, very considerably, and he's convinced they're part of the construction process. They might be also an ancient language, a stone language. And I have to agree with him, they're part of the constructive process of the stone. So let's examine how that works. I think, and I suggested this to the fan who rang me up, there's wood in there. These are lengths of wood or beams used to carry the stones into position. When they were placed in position, what happened then was you had these are then sticking out. They're protruding, and you have a stone on top, right? Then what happens is this, and you have another stone there. These are protruding, and you'd hang from this a wooden cradle. The wooden cradle is essentially to catch the drips. There's the cradle, and the cradle is hanging from the stone, and it's about that height. And when you're smoothing out this stone with the strong acids, you're getting a build up here. Now, I've noticed on the top of the nubs, you examine the small, sorry about the mess, but there is often more, there is a build up on top of the stones rather than underneath the stones, which I find just fascinating. So basically you have this wooden cradle. There's a piece of wood right there to catch the drips, and then when when you have the melt stone flowing downwards, you have a layer building up just underneath the nubs. And that's what I've noticed in all the pictures. You have this layer of material just underneath the two nubs, or right there. It means there was a piece of wood right there. And that's why you need to have the nubs protruding, because you need that wooden cradle. Now, then I think what happened was the stone is flowing over the nubs. So they're becoming encased, the bits of wood are becoming encased in stone. So then they slice off the wooden part. So then you have a stone which looks like this, and you've got the nubs sticking out there, and you'd want stone to flow underneath to fill up this area. And then what you'd have is, you have the nubs sort of sticking out like this, and that's the rest of the wood. This is the wood here, and the stone has encased this part of the wood, so you'll slice it off there, but you won't slice off the stone, because then you would reveal the wood inside, and that would make it not look the best, right? So I think that's what happened. Or the acid has simply melted away the wood and replaced it with a nub. And I think that's probably how they got the perfect seals between the rocks. I think that's the process. That explains the nubs. It explains the bit of material that you see around the nubs. Now, how to explain the inverse nubs? Because I have to explain that one as well. Because sometimes you see a situation where there are no nubs. There's just two holes in the rock. So to explain that, I think what happened is they take the wood out. Just as soon as they finish the acid process, they decide to remove the wood. You can just maybe it's almost they wait a bit until it's almost solid, and then they just pull it out, and then you would have just two holes where the wood used to be. Now I think it's either planks of wood or it's literally round logs, because what you see with the nubs are they're either rectangles or they're circles. That's what I've noticed. And so we have planks and we have almost tree trunks, it seems. Isn't that so interesting? I think that explains the nub theory. Sorry about my bad pictures, but I think that's it. Tell me if I've missed out on anything. I think that it does explain exactly how what the nubs are and what they're doing there. I also think they're used for joining, like in Stonehenge. I've made a video about that. I think they're used for hanging up sheets of gold. That's why they left them protruding. I've made a video about that long ago, saying they're the cities of gold. And the cities of gold vanished when the Spanish were looking for them, because they removed the sheets from the walls. I hope that explains it. I don't know any other way to put that. I think that explains everything. Wooden cradles here, underneath, done. Cool videos coming up. We're going to explain the Holy Grail, how the Holy Grail works, where Holy Grails are located, how to find Holy Grails, why there would have been multiple Holy Grails, what it's got to do with Egypt. This is just unbelievable. It's to do with geomancy. Geomancy is used for locating Holy Grails, why they were put where they were, how they operate according to mythology, why they placed them. It's just an unbelievable lost science. It's unbelievable. This is the best channel ever. I can't believe it. If I wasn't making these videos, I would just be watching them all the time. My goodness.